Spring is coming. Johnny and the Greg are live again after a week off. I hope you guys missed us as much as we missed you. Greg, how you feel from your vacation?
Tired.
I'm
tired from vacation. Yes.
Sounds like a dad.
Yeah. Like my last day of vacation, which was today, was really the only day I had of like nothing. Like I didn't have to go anywhere. I didn't have to do anything. I got annoyed when my wife went to the grocery store because we had nothing in the house and she forgot her wallet. So I had to run it out to her. And I'm like, I don't want to go anywhere. And I just wanted to sit at home. I was watching the Badger basketball game, which did not turn out well.
What happened?
It was an upset. They got beat by Nebraska.
This is the Big Ten championship, right?
Well, no, it would have affected their seed in I thought it was going to affect their seed in the big
bracket.
tournament. Yeah, in the big bracket. Like I didn't see there was someone I think it was the Iowa game. I can't remember who they were playing. The outcome of the Iowa game affected their either they win the Big Ten altogether or they tie for the Big Ten championship. And then it affected their seed in the bracket. Like they were going to be number 1 or they could have been number 2, I think. So it was all just a big, but it was an upset. They lost by, I think, 2 points and they certainly shouldn't have. The refs were really weird. I mean, they were very much against Nebraska for like the entire second half. But then there were a couple calls there. You're like, what are they doing? Like, I don't know. It was just a weird game. Yeah. But while we're on, I do want to say happy birthday to our friend Danny Trejo, who is 30 today.
Happy birthday. The reason I'm laughing, hey, Greg, can you either back up your mic or not? Because you're coming in really sharp.
I'm hot. Okay.
Yeah, the better. Yeah, you know what I just realized about this whole not jumping on social media is I don't know people's birthdays anymore.
Yep. Nope.
Yeah. So for those of you that haven't gotten a birthday from me because of this, because I just haven't checked on Facebook. I'm sorry. That became a very helpful tool in terms of birthdays. So Danny, I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to anybody I missed out on. Yeah. Oh, and for those of you that are trying to, I don't know who designated you guys the Lent police, but you guys have been coming at me a little hard. Relax.
Really?
It's my Lent. It's not yours.
The whole I think we talked about this last year when we talked about Lent. I have a problem with the whole thing. With the giving up for Lent. And I understand the purpose of it. I understand why you're supposed to give up things for Lent. And it's to turn your focus instead of on that thing, it's to turn your focus on Christ and actually study the Bible. So whenever anybody says, well, I'm going to give up something for Lent, and I'm like, so you're going to read your Bible more? You're going to become more spiritual? You're going to do more? No. It's just for me. I think it'll be healthy for me to give that up. I'm like, well, then you're doing it wrong. And I can call you out on that because we're really good friends. But for the other people that I want to call that stuff on, I think it's a thing that's full of shit. Then if you're just going to give up something,
I'll admit the whole Lent thing. It's not really a religious thing to me. It's just one of those moments where I feel like a 40-day challenge.
Yeah, it's a 40-day challenge. It's a practice of self-discipline,
and I will do that because I get on kicks like that. I get on kicks where I need like some sort of like challenge, like can you not have this for so many years, or what is it like if you step away from this? And I don't know why I gravitate towards Lent, but it was always something cool that my mom did it right. No meat on Fridays. I'm very lackluster with it. I just, like I said, I more or less like the challenge of it. But for those of people that were like, oh, you're gonna go live on Facebook, so you're giving that up. It's like, no, like,
yeah, and that's,
I have my own rules, and if you want to nitpick, that's fine.
Well, the Facebook thing, we've talked about this. I would love to give up Facebook for a bit, like just
Yeah.
walk away from it, stuff like that. But I've got this is tied to my
Mhm.
Facebook account.
Mhm.
The bullbox.com is still tied to my Facebook account because the guy that runs the site, he doesn't have Facebook at all.
Yeah.
So it's like, if I walk away from Facebook, if I like shut it down, if I deactivate my account, which I've thought about doing, then you're losing out those two elements as well. And I've looked into, well, can I shift it over to other people? And no, you can't. You can have
Yeah.
other managers. Unless I'm wrong and someone else knows how I can like detach myself from those things, let me know. But yeah, I would, and it would be for a spell. I'm like, I'm not talking
Yeah.
about logging away because it's so integrated into our lives now. Like
It is. Well, now I got my daughter on it, and I can actually see how she's grown from just the small posts I've done
Yeah.
with her on it. And I'm with you. There's a big part of me that's like, I don't need this.
Yeah.
I really don't. But then again, it's like I liked, like Ursula was telling me that it looked like you guys had fun. And I haven't checked it. I don't know the pictures. And I was like, oh, damn it, I want to see those pictures. I'm like, but I can't do it. So there is that. Like, I like to see what my friends are doing in terms of like what adventures they're doing. Or Farrah has great ones with her kids.
Yeah.
Yep. And I have other friends that post stuff that's good to see. But if it wasn't, I guess, if it's not for the podcast and it's not for birthdays and it's not for checking out my friends, I wouldn't be on it. Yeah.
I have things that are like to sign in to other apps that you use.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like
through your Facebook.
Sign in with Facebook. It makes it easy. It makes it convenient.
Yeah.
And I would have to be like, shit, what was the password? I mean, it became, like I said, it's integrated into our lives. And I mean, I've got a friend who has stepped away completely. He shut it off like 6 months ago.
Good for him.
And he's like, it's the best thing ever. I'm like,
yeah.
Yeah. I wonder.
I'll tell you, I don't miss it for the most part. I don't miss it at all. I have an itch to turn on Instagram.
Yeah.
And scroll, but I don't have an itch at all to get onto Facebook. Yeah.
Same thing. I mean, it's owned by the same company.
Yeah. By Meta now. Now they're called Meta.
Meta. Yeah. The Meta thing.
Yeah. By the way, before we get any further into this, Greg, why don't we please the
our partnership.
Yeah, our partnership.
Well, John, we are partnered with Audible. You can go to audibletrial.com/JATG to get 30 days free of Audible, where you can get hundreds of thousands of audiobooks. You can get podcasts, including this one. And you can listen on the go. You can listen when you're on your treadmill. If you're, it's getting to be nicer out. So if you're a motorcycle rider, when you're banking on the curves and doing everything else, doing your little point, that Harley point that they have, you can have our podcast piped in through your helmet. And
it's also a great thing for the spring cleaning that's coming now.
Oh yes, open up the windows when it gets warm enough and start cleaning your house like you haven't done all winter. A great thing to have on. And so dig into that, dig into those books that you've just been putting off. Like, you know what, I should read that. I should read it. But I'm not going to, because I don't want to sit down with that monster of a book and read it. You can go ahead and listen to it and get some professional readers, or even the full dramatization, which I really like. It's almost like an old timey radio show where you've got the whole novel coming into your ear, or you can learn some stuff. And so, you got that ahead of you, and you can get that, like I said, 30 days for free, audibletrial.com/JATG.
There you go. So for on the agenda today, we're going to sneak we'll get off this little tangent about Lent and giving up stuff and all this fun stuff, and we'll go right into talking about how Greg, where'd you go, Greg? Where'd you go for vacation?
I went
to Universal Studios.
Yeah, I went to Florida. We did 2 days at Universal, and that went well. There was one day, our last day there, because we said we're going to do 2 days at the parks for sure, and then the rest would be beach days, and then we did another event on our last day there. And they changed the park times, I think, because like we were expecting it to be open an hour later than it was, and then all of a sudden we were
It might
heading
be
to
COVID, right?
I don't know, it was
Time
COVID
to
or if it
clean
was
it. Time
shifted.
to clean it or
There was a
something.
lot of private events going on.
Oh, okay.
Throughout there. I do have a story related to that. But anyway, yeah, so we didn't get as much time in the parks as we originally anticipated, but it was still a great time. The new Velocicoaster is probably the best roller coaster I've ever been on, and I've been on a
Cool.
few. So
Cool.
that was a lot of fun.
Cool.
So our first night there, we flew in
Is this the story?
early. Yeah, this is the story. We
Okay.
flew in early on Monday. And so we land, we get to our resorts. We're like, well, we have a full kitchen, so let's get some food and stuff like that. We head back. And now keep in mind, we had to get up 3:30, I think is when we woke up Monday morning so that we could make an early flight. And so we were in Florida early, but we've been traveling. It was a long day. I mean, because you travel a lot. And so the plan was for me to drive to Universal. The parking is free after 6. After 6 p.m., the parking is free because they've got they call it the city walk. It's all the restaurants and the shops and stuff like that. And people just, it's nightlife. People who just go there and hang out.
Mm-hmm.
But I was going to go there and get our tickets printed off so that we didn't have to wait in that line on Tuesday when we wanted to get into the parks and start the event. So I go to the will call ticket booth, and that had already closed. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, they said you could head back to the customer service and like the city walk and they'll put your tickets off. So I'm headed in that direction. And I start to look around, and I'm wearing just a gray t-shirt. And I look around, and I'm surrounded by guys in like different shades of gray t-shirt. And I'm like, kind of weird. Dudes from a little bit younger than me to probably in their early 60s. So it was a big age range, but it was all these dudes.
And what were the shirts? Did this have anything on it?
It was. They had a patch on it. It was like an engineering firm.
Oh, okay.
And they're all like, oh, and so I'm walking, and I'm just kind of like, I kind of like follow the crowd because I think we're all kind of headed to exit, and we're not. Like I'm headed in, and all of a sudden I see this guy. He's got a private event. And I went, oh shit, I'm in the wrong line. I gotta go.
Yeah.
And I'm like, sorry guys, and they're like, oh, well, we thought you were with us, and like we thought you were the new guy from Montana that we just didn't meet yet. I'm like, no. I said, I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong group. I gotta go because they're entering the park. And
I think I know what you're talking about. This is one of those like it's privately.
This company had rented out Universal
they do
Studios.
that at night. I've been a part of that. Luckily, it's awesome.
So they're like and they say, well, do you want to
jump in?
and they're like, we got like Tom didn't show up. Tom didn't want to come to this. He's not a theme park guy. You can have his land. It's like 500 people. It's all we can drink.
God, it's like, do I look at my family?
We could do
I
all
give
these
some
rides?
time for the Greg? Do I just give some time?
I know, and I'm like,
yeah.
How long? They're like, it's like 4 hours. We're here till midnight. We whatever it is, or till 11. They're like, we got the whole park to ourselves.
Yeah,
come on in, buddy. And it's like, ooh, and I'm like, I really should
leave my family.
I'm like, they're gonna be so pissed if I do this. And they're like, and one guy, he was like, fuck him. Do it. I mean, when are you gonna get into Universal, like, with 500 people? He's like, come on, we'll even if you're staying for an hour, we ride a bunch of rides and you go home. And I'm like,
now an hour you could pull that off.
I could pull that off. I could have rode a lot of rides.
Did you do that or no?
I didn't.
Do you not want to say this on the podcast?
No. I would if I did it. I'd totally say it because I mean, what does Universal care if this?
No, not Universal. Your family. Yeah. Like, if
no. One, because we've got the app on their phone. They can tell where I'm at.
Okay.
So they would have seen me on a ride and been like, what the hell?
Hey, but I'm testing it for your safety.
I know. I was, man, was I torn. I was like, oh, this would be
just for an hour. I could have pulled that off for an hour.
This would have been so much fun. But no, I didn't.
I would have walked in the hotel. She would have been like, my God, where you were? I'm like, dude, the lines to get anywhere were incredible.
Yeah. Nope. I didn't do it. But
well,
in
you've proven
retrospect,
once
I'm kinda
again,
like,
you've proven
man.
once again, Greg, why you're a better man than me.
Mm.
Yeah, I would have done it for an hour. I would
I
have done it for an
literally
hour.
walked in the resort and I said, I am a good dad.
Yeah.
Just kind of like made this proclamation.
Yeah.
And they're like, why? What happened? And I told them, I'm like, oh, man.
Yeah.
So, and you know, Krista's my wife. She was like, that shit happens to you like all the time. Like stuff comes up and you're just.
Imagine all the fun I would have had if I didn't have a family.
Well, I wouldn't have been there if I didn't.
Right. Yeah.
Like, but yeah, that was an interesting story. But overall, we had fun. We spent a shit ton of money in the parks getting souvenirs and whatever else, and it was a good time. If anybody's interested, if you're going to Orlando, and if you're looking at the restaurants in the parks, those are expensive. I mean, for a family of 4 to 5 people, you're talking $100 each meal, which might not seem like a lot to some people, but I mean, if you're wanting to eat a little bit cheaper, you can. We found a place called Senor Manny's Tacos, and it's this Puerto Rican Mexican place, and they are phenomenal. Cool. From Disney Springs, it's probably a 15-minute drive. It's not terrible. It's easy to get to. It's kind of by it's right across from a place they call Old Town, and it's like it's an amusement park. Which, if you had this amusement park in your hometown, you'd be like, yeah, it's a fun little hangout. But because it's in Orlando, they're like, well, it's not Disney, it's not Universal. But they've got like the giant slingshot ride. They've got a Ferris wheel. They got all those sauces. But it's right across from there, and it's really good.
Did you ever have a day where you just hung out by the pool?
We did. Yep, that was Thursday. We did.
Did you just put on so much sunscreen that you don't even
you know what
whatsoever?
I
didn't even look red.
Yeah, I know, it's sad. We didn't get enough time. I do have a little bit of sun on my shoulders and whatnot.
Okay.
And, but you know, because when you're bald, you tend to take care of your scalp and your face and whatnot.
I would imagine.
So it's like SPF 60.
Okay.
You know, you just put that stuff on and then you don't get burned, which is great, but you don't get real tan either.
Well, the sun's different now than when we were kids. It is. It's different. It's like it's more intense.
Yeah. I remember being, I mean, I was a lifeguard when I was in high school, and seeing pictures of, you know, the summer before my senior year. I am dark. Like, I am super dark, had a good tan, and I'm like, I don't even know if I can do that anymore. It would just be like H spots on me or something. But yeah. Matt says that lack of ozone. That's true. Yeah, it's a very different.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I didn't tan up as much as I would have liked to. But like in one day, I mean, yeah, if I would have worn nothing, I'd be a crispy critter and uncomfortable. But we did. The other thing we did is on Friday. Another it's about a 40-minute drive outside of Orlando. It was called Wild, Florida. Oh, okay. We did the airboat ride where they take you out and you see a bunch of gators, and they got to walk through zoo. I was half hoping it was going to be like Tiger King. It was going to be like a little bit of rednecky kind of like is a little sketchy, but it wasn't that at all. No. Nice little zoo. We did a drive-through safari. So they've got like took us about an hour or more, because you drive 5 miles an hour and it's like free range animals. We had an emu almost poke its head into our vehicle.
Yeah. Ursula hates those things.
Yep. We had an ostrich that like actually bit my side view mirror. I really had to like put my hands in his face. I'm like, fuck off. And he like went away. We thought it looked like almost like an albino elk. And his rack was very strange. It looked like someone just put like driftwood on his head. So he was interesting, but we saw him on one side and then it looped around and he kind of followed us to the other side of the road. And as we're driving up, he got real, kind of started bucking and moving around. I was like, I don't know if he's playing or if he's unhappy, but then he got real close to our vehicle. And I was like, oh, like, what's the rental car company policy if you get
if they ram your car,
attacked by a wild animal at a drive-through safari?
I'm sure that's not the. I'm sure they've dealt with that plenty of times.
I would think so. I mean, this place is pretty big. Like when we went to the concierge desk, it was one of the top brochures. I'm like, look at this place called Wild Ford. He's like, yep, right here. And he pulled it out and we bought our tickets there and everything else. And
all right.
Yeah. The airboat ride was interesting. Our captain.
Have you ever been on an airboat ride or no?
Nope.
Okay.
First time. That was fun.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you're out there to see gators. Like that's what you want to see.
Yeah.
And we saw a bunch. And so as we're kind of stopped and we're watching one, he's like, now, do y'all remember that story at Disney a couple of years ago about that 3-year-old boy got taken? And we're like, oh yeah, that was tragic. He's like, well, he was doing something that you're never supposed to do in Florida, and that's going to the water at night. You don't do that. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense.
And he said he was at the Grand Floridian, which is like Disney's nicest resort, and he and his dad were wading through in like knee-deep water, watching the fireworks, which explicitly they say don't do that. And this kid got taken and he drowned, and it's tragic. I mean, it is.
It's horrible, yeah.
But then I think it was Captain Dennis. He's like, now what they didn't tell you, that got overshadowed by another story about this man who was breaking into houses, and he thought he would hide in the swamp with all of his ill-gotten goods, and a gator got him. And we're like, oh, so a dude was robbing houses and he gets eaten by a gator. Yeah, I can see why the news didn't pick up on that. He goes, what they didn't tell you is that they could hear him screaming out in the swamp. They just couldn't find it. And so the search party's like looking for it. They could hear this guy screaming for his life, and they couldn't find him. And they said the next day they took helicopters over and they went, there he is. Then they found like parts of him everywhere.
Yeah. Wow. I hear that in Florida, they're having a problem with anacondas.
Like pythons, I think more than anacondas.
Pythons are just
invasive.
I think some idiot, because they have like all those different types of like reptile parks around that area. Some idiot let those things go in the swamp, and they're taking over.
It's less the reptile parks and it's more private collectors.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, because you have people down there with stupid money.
Yeah.
And for a while I heard
I'm going to get me a snake. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like the drug cartel kind of people that wanted exotic.
And when that thing gets to like 6 foot, they're like, I don't want this.
It's what the news said. It's the same thing. Like what we found out with Tiger King. You can buy a tiger cub for about $1,000.
Yeah.
A little bit more than $1,000. And you're like, that seems irresponsible. I mean, that some dogs cost more than a tiger cub.
I don't know if it's still it's gotten so much attention now, but I do know that in the state of Texas, there was more of a tiger population than the rest of the world.
Yeah. Because I mean, you go and buy them, and
so I don't know. I don't know if that's changed with Tiger King and PETA jumping in there, and so I don't know if that's changed, but that was.
But yes, there is a predatory snake issue. And because there's no natural predators for a boa or an anaconda for them to take,
they're taking out gators, man.
So they're taking out gators. Yeah, they don't know what to do with them. So
All right. I think Marshall, this might be a real good time for you to drop off. We're going to talk about Batman.
Oh no, he was there with me.
Oh, he was. Okay.
Yeah, he made the drive over.
Okay, cool, fun. So Marshall, hang on. Here we go. We both watched the new movie coming out, or the new movie out called The Batman, directed by Matt Reeves.
For Gotham.
Yeah, directed by Matt Reeves and starring Robert Pattinson, who I just want. Pattinson.
Yes.
So I just want to mention real quick for those of you that were freaking out about Robert Pattinson playing Batman. Wrong. We told you so. We told you so. He did.
We did tell them so.
We told you so. What'd you think?
I loved it. I mean, let's just get that out of the way first.
Loved it.
I loved it. I'm trying to. I need another viewing of it. So Matt, if you're gonna watch it sometime this week, give me a call. I think pretty much, yeah, I think it's my favorite on screen. Now, okay, let me caveat to this. I take Batman the animated series and put that in a different category. I really do.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people complain about that it should be integrated, but that is a different, because you can do different things in animation. And also that was long form. That was, multi-season.
They had
series.
time to establish.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And the performances, even though they were honed in very well in the beginning, or from the beginning, I think it's just a different animal. I think it's one of, if not my favorite on-screen Batman to date. Yes.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that.
I love the Tim Burton Batman films. They are, and I know you don't, but for me, there's a nostalgia piece there. I still watch them about once a year. Mm-hmm. I'll go back and I'll watch the 1989 Batman. I'll watch Batman Forever. They're different. They're cartoony in a way.
They are, yeah. Very much so.
But it definitely beats the shit out of Joel Schumacher's stuff. Mm-hmm. Although I did like Val Kilmer's portrayal of Bruce Wayne in Batman. I thought it was fun, not dark, but fun.
Right.
I never really got behind the Nolan verse like everybody else did.
Interesting.
And Christian Bale was never my favorite Batman from the get-go. But I think Pattinson has encompassed everything that I really love about Batman, which is that one, the Dark Knight detective, that really came through in the film. Mm-hmm. And then just kind of the dark and brooding, like the noir of it all. And just having that be so integrated into the film. This is Seven. This is Heat. This is, the old detective stories that just kind of permeate into you a little bit, where it's like the whole environment is a character in itself. Gotham had a grittiness to it that the only place I had really seen is in the video game, the Arkham series video games. Yes, Gotham was more kind of a character in the Burton films in a more of a fantastical way. This was just dark and gritty, and
let's stop there. Let's stop there for a second. Let's stop there for 1 second, because I think you're absolutely right. This was the first time I was disgusted by Gotham.
Oh, yeah.
It was disgusting. There was no part that was clean, even in Bruce's house, even in Falcone's place. You never felt comfortable. Everything was very, I walked out feeling like I needed a shower from it. It was so dark. That's what Gotham in my head always was. And you're right, with Burton, even with in the Nolan verse, it was just very much a city.
Yeah, it
was very much Chicago, because that's where he filmed the majority of most of those, but it was just a city. And in Tim Burton's, it was almost a landscape versus a city. Schumacher was ridiculous. Schumacher
was a neon nightmare.
Yeah, it was just crazy. But this was just grimy, and it's like you just felt like if you drove through Gotham, when you come out of it, you'd be like, what how did I get all this shit? So go continue.
There's a feeling that there's a feeling, and Matt just commented, I think they had a better feel in the Joker, though. And he's absolutely right. And I wasn't a big fan of the Joker, the movie with Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh yeah, me neither.
I watched it. How it fit in, I don't think it fits in the Batman or in the DC universe at all. As a standalone,
it's a multiverse thing. It's
watch a guy dissolve into madness. Yes. But Gotham had that same kind of feel in that movie. I will agree with that. That there was really danger around every corner. I mean, like in Burton's Gotham, everything was a set piece. I mean, and you could tell. I mean, it was everything was a set. This was like, no, this could be a real part of a city. In Chicago, and we've seen that part. You've seen that in St. Louis. You've seen that in New York. I mean, even parts of Milwaukee, which is the closest big city to me. You're like, there are parts of that city. You're like, I don't want to walk down there. Like you just know, like there's that trickle up your spine that you're like, I don't want to do that. That was this entire city.
Yes.
And they do show like, oh, here's the skyline. Here's our high rises. Here's the skyscrapers. Here's what we assume was Wayne Tower when we saw it. But it's still like, when you look up, you're like, there's the top of Wayne Tower. Sure, that's shining, but you can see like how the darkness degenerated and that at the bottom of the screen.
I would never want to go there.
Yeah. There
would be no part of me that would ever want to go to that city. Now, the other ones, whatever. But this one for sure, I was like, this is uncomfortable. And I don't like it.
There are, oh man, the way, and this is hard to do it without spoiling anything. There are parts of that film where you're like, there are no good people in this city.
Yeah.
The only good people that exist in this city are Alfred, Commissioner Gordon, and to some extent Batman, Bruce Wayne, but Batman's got his own set of issues. So it comes down to like Commissioner Gordon and Alfred. Those are your two good
Commissioner
people.
Gordon. Love Commissioner Gordon.
He was fantastic.
Jeffrey Wright was fantastic as Commissioner Gordon.
Killed it. Yeah.
Yeah, he was really good at it.
I would watch an entire film series of just him doing Gordon. Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah. I think they're talking about spin-offs of this. By the way,
sure.
We're talking about performances. Holy Colin Farrell.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah,
who like I would see glimpses in his eyes of there's Colin. But for the majority, that was wow. Like,
I saw a snippet of an interview with him where he was like, he's cast and he's trying to find, how do I voice the character? How do I move? He's doing the actor thing, like trying to, how am I going to do this?
Yeah, of course.
And he said when he put the suit on and he got in the full makeup and, he's kind of watching the process of the prosthetics and everything. When he got up and walked around and then he just started doing that voice right away. And he's like, it just all of a sudden hit.
Just clicked.
And I guess at one point during the filming, he went to Starbucks and he was in full costume. And he's like, the looks he got.
Yeah.
Just going to Starbucks was like, oh, okay, this is he's imposing, but he's scary. And it's just kind of how he decided to play it. And it was fantastic.
Yeah. I thought everybody that was major characters in there, I forget her first name. Her last name's Kravitz.
Zoe
Kravitz. I thought she did great.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Robert Pattinson.
Yes.
I thought he did good, like Greg and I said he would. It's the first time that you got more Batman than you got Bruce.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was, and really the joke, not the joke, but the common line is that Bruce is actually the mask and Batman is the real.
Right. Yeah.
Paul
Dano.
That came out a lot. And you could see that like Bruce Wayne is supposed to be this weird character where like when he's doing the billionaire playboy, like that's the actual mask that he wears. And that's where I think Bale did not nail that at all. Like he's supposed to be uncomfortable in situations, and Pattinson nailed that, where it's like, the scene where Bruce Wayne finally appears and you can tell he doesn't want to be there.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be out in public. This is not his natural habitat.
Or he was actually walking around like he was wearing a very uncomfortable mask.
Yeah. Yep. And that was great.
Yeah. I have no problem with the performances. I thought, I think his name's Paul Dano. I think he was great as the Riddler.
Mm-hmm.
Great as the Riddler. God, it felt like they dropped Batman in the movie 7.
Really? Yeah.
That's what it felt like to me. And it never let up. I thought it would shift a little, and it never shifted to me. It never let up. It was, I would say, this is not a kid-friendly Batman. This is a very heavy adult Batman. And I give Warner Brothers the credit for giving the green light for all this. Go ahead. Because this is their main moneymaker is Batman.
My oldest daughter, she literally got home an hour ago from
Yeah.
seeing it. And she said, yeah, there was a woman there who had like her 6-year-old in
Oh,
there.
yeah.
But you know what? It was very much that's the parent's prerogative to take their
Yes.
kid. But I want to know, was the parent taking her 6-year-old because she's like, oh, it's Batman.
Yes.
We bought his Lego set. This will be
Right.
great.
Right.
And it didn't like, and then went, oh shit. And so she said like this mom, I think it was out of the theater
Right.
multiple times
Yeah.
because it's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Like,
Or it's heavy. It's heavy.
Or it's heavy. Yeah. Like,
it's very heavy. It's very real world. I told first, okay. So
it had a little bit there's a couple, hold on a second. There's a little bit the Riddler and the way he sets up these riddles that try to capture or test Batman. There's very much a Saw feel to this, where in the same or Seven. I mean, they're very similar in that here's a situation where a person is going to die in a very gruesome way. They don't necessarily show it, but it's gruesome, it's intense, it's dark. And this woman had her 6-year-old in there.
Yeah. Okay. I haven't. So Ursula and I went to go see it today. Ursula is very much about entertainment, and she's biased. She loves Christian Bale. That's her Batman. She loved that whole series. I'm the big Batman family. I'm the big Batman fan in the family. So I'm the one that looks at it from a very critical point. And Ursula walked out going, with the movie. Because I just don't, because I don't think it fit in her Batman. I don't think she was expecting this because it's different. It's different. It's their version. This is a Batman that I think maybe you could agree with me, maybe you won't. It's the closest to what would Batman be like in real life.
Yeah, it's very reality based because even in the Nolan verse, Wayne was using his billions and what they did like military research to have all these gadgets.
Yeah.
And this was not the case. I mean, the most complex gadget he had, well, I mean, the grapple gun is there.
Well, not only the grapple gun, that
he had some contact lenses that allowed him to do some stuff that we don't want to go into. But that was it. I mean, when you come down to gadgets, there's no 007 style gadgetry going on here.
Not yet. Nope.
I don't know if there will be, but go ahead.
Well, I mean, it's you're gonna find this isn't really a spoiler because if you pay attention to it, he's writing in a journal, and if you listen enough, this is year 2 of Batman. Yeah. So he's still new at this. He's still figuring it himself out. He's still figuring out all of it. I do like how they opened it up when you got this idea that whenever they saw that skylight, they were scared of every shadow. Like a guy wouldn't go chase something that went into the shadow. They were scared of every shadow because they didn't know is he in there? Is he not?
Right.
Which is cool. That was building the lore and the legend of what Batman will be, fear. I walked out of the movie theater thinking it was good. I didn't think it was great. I asked myself, do you think you're going to watch this again? And I don't think I will. I don't think I need to. I did not. There were 2 things I didn't like. The first one I didn't like, it was too long. It was way too long. There was one point, I think when they finally caught the Riddler, I'm like, okay, good. It's over. We're going to wrap this up. And I was like, oh God, there's another 30 minutes of this. Oh God, there's another. So I didn't like that. And I guess this adds to that part. Everything didn't need to be slow motion. And they did that. And that got annoying. Like, I'll give you a real quick example. When he saw the card in the live bat cage, and he went in there, it was, and I was like, oh my God, just grab the card. We know it's a card. Just grab the freaking card. You don't need to, I know you were trying to create suspense and drama, but you've done it too long already. That was just my personal opinion about it. The other one, and this is a big one for me, actually, there was no point to the Batmobile chase. There wasn't. It didn't make sense. He came out there. He kind of won. He had them all pinned down. Batman's down. He had Catwoman pinned down. He's going over there, and all of a sudden, an engine roars, and he thinks his best shot is to get into a car and drive away. And I was like, okay, so this is just to have the Batmobile in the movie. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's all it was. Other than that, I don't really have a complaint, except it's about as close to life. I mean, it's a heavy Batman movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought Robert did great. I thought the fight scenes were really good. I still would like it. This is about as close as, am I wrong, Greg? Is this about as close as, or as I should say, the camera angle was far out wide, so you could see more action than you've ever seen in a Batman movie?
Correct. Yeah.
Right. He actually moved. It looked like he was in SWAT gear. His Batman suit was like a SWAT gear stuff, which makes sense.
Yes, I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
The only other Batman fight scene that I think I've seen that was on par, maybe, I don't know, I'd have to watch them again. Was in Batman versus Superman.
Yeah.
Where Batman
the warehouse.
Martha Kent.
Yeah, I agree.
Because that entire setup was to show Batman's fighting ability.
Yes. Yes.
But I liked it, and I liked that Batman was not invulnerable. You see him get hit.
Yep.
Because when you're surrounded by dudes,
you
get hit.
Yes.
But he could take a punch, and that's what it was.
Yeah.
I think the card scene played out exactly as intended.
The card,
like the card, where you're like, that's too slow. They didn't need that. I think that was intentional. I really
think all of it was. They were trying to build suspense for a lot of it. But
there's a psychological piece where you've got this bat in there that is, I don't know what kind of bat it was, but I think it was larger than it actually would have been in real life. And, he's slowly putting his hand in there because there's a psychology. No one sticks their hand into a cage where a bat is freaking out. No one does that. Just like, oh, here we go. I'll get it. Even if you are wearing gloves.
I would disagree with that completely.
I don't. I think if I had you do that, even with a bike glove on, you'd be like, oh shit.
If you give me Batman's gauntlet and his gloves, I would have no problem getting in there to reach that thing. I definitely wouldn't have gone slow. Slow, you give yourself more of a chance to get bit.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think Matt is agreeing with me here. Let me read this. I thought the card scene was a symbolism of his fear of actual bats from childhood. Like he was hesitating, but then he gets, then overcomes that great fear and gets the card. So that could be a piece. Bruce Wayne was afraid of bats once upon a time. The other thing I did enjoy, this just popped into my head. We know the backstory of Batman. We know that Thomas and Martha get, gunned down, but we didn't need to see it again. I liked that they didn't go into let's show how Batman is. Everybody knows the story. Correct. By now. It's like, when Marvel did it with Spider-Man, we don't need to see him get bitten by the spider again.
Right.
We know that background.
Yes.
So they didn't have to set that up even in like a credit scene or the opening credits. Right. Like, nope. Batman exists. He's been doing this for a while, that he's instilled fear in Gotham. And I thought that was great.
The other thing that I actually liked about this one was you felt like Batman was a human. Like you felt he was there's a man in there.
Mm-hmm.
But the vibe he gave off to other people was like, it wasn't a whoa, this guy's supernatural. It was more of a, what the fuck is this guy?
Yeah, you're psycho. It was.
And that's the other thing I appreciated is, you don't think Bruce Wayne's damaged? You don't think that man is damaged? To dress up like a bat and dedicate his entire life to getting his ass kicked. I think somebody did this once that they took, I don't know how they gathered it all, but they said if someone was actually Batman, he would be dead in 5 years. Not because of of the stuff he's gotten involved in, but the body would give out within
Right.
5 years and be done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I liked how he's a little unhinged.
Mm-hmm.
Like Robert Pattinson, he played kind of a not nuts. Well, he is nuts. Batman's crazy. He's single-minded, focused on one thing, and that's his war on crime. He doesn't want to do anything else. So
the emotional damage that we see with Bruce and Batman in through most of the film, is integral to the character, but we've never really seen it done well or appropriately on screen. And I thought that was great.
Hey, let me stop you real quick for a second. Actually, we did see his origin. We just saw it through the eyes of another kid. They kept focusing on that kid, and he kept focusing.
Well, they did, and but that was just him having that empathy, which is not something Batman usually shows. So it, like, I mean, and if you know the backstory, which I think everybody does, you're like, that's why he's doing this. I mean, that kid is a personification of young Bruce back in the day.
Yeah.
I really liked that Batman had dialogue with everybody.
Yes, I like that too.
It wasn't just, and they did this a lot in the animated series, but in the other films, like Batman didn't talk to people.
Right.
Or if he did, it was very short. You know, there wasn't a lot of back and forth.
Right.
Where this was like, no, he's almost like a freelance detective that Gordon brings around from crime scene to crime scene, and he's talking to other cops. He's talking to Gordon.
Yes.
You know, he's talking to the police chief.
I love the fact that they actually, for the first time in a movie, focused on him being a detective.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's one of the main things that makes that is Batman.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's not some rich boy that can fly around and rescue the day. He is in the dirt, in the ground. I wish they would have showed a little bit more technology with how he fights crime in terms of the forensic side.
Right. And that's,
I would have liked to have seen that.
And I'm opposite. I'm glad they didn't show that, because that's what they did in the Nolan verse. That was him. Oh, here's my rifle setup where I can do the forensic pieces, and we're going to reconstruct the bullets so we can get a fingerprint. And I'm like, okay, yeah, but this was Batman the detective in the vein of Sherlock Holmes, where he's entering a scene and he's just making all these observations. And I love that he's seeing things that even the police are missing. And you saw that with the photographer who's like, what's that? What's he looking at? Oh shit. And then started taking a bunch of pictures of what they missed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're showing him knowing enough about the human psyche and criminalism and whatnot, that he's making these deductions on site that, you know, the other detectives are missing.
I also like how there were times you actually doubted him. Did he get it wrong?
Yeah.
Like, did he not get that right? Did he get it wrong? Like, is the Riddler smarter? And actually, in my opinion, the Riddler was smarter. He was smarter in this movie than Batman. And that's okay in my opinion, because I think the problem is with Batman, you start building him to this. He's bigger than, like, I don't know how to explain
you
this.
make him so invulnerable as a human that he's infallible.
Right. And what I was going to say, what I was talking to Ursula about this, I said, what's cool about Batman, and let me know, Greg, if there is any other character that is like this in comic books. So go into Marvel as well. Is there a character that my 3-year-old daughter can watch Batman, and I can watch Batman, and it can go, he is on every spectrum. There's dark, heavy Batman. There's Batman. He is taken on every, like, he's on every level of the spectrum of how you could play him. There's not really a wrong way you could play him anymore.
Right. I understand the question, and I think off the top of my head, the answer is no. There's
nobody
other
else, right? Like,
there's no dark
Yeah, Spider-Man is always Spider-Man.
Yeah, there's still that lighthearted, like smart ass kid in Spider-Man. Now, in No Way Home, we got the feeling that like Andrew Garfield's character went dark.
Yes,
and there are people that are clamoring to see that movie
see
now.
that, yeah.
But I don't think that.
No, I don't think so.
It'll happen. But no, there is no character that has kind of spanned the campy, cartoony kid version along with the dark, gritty adult version.
Right.
And I think that includes the comic books as well. Like,
yeah, I agree.
And you can see that like pre 1980s when Batman was Batman, or even the mid 70s where he went a little dark in there as well, or darker than kind of the bang pow zoom like Adam West era. But even when you go back to him, you read those first issues of Batman, you know, where you got Bob Kane and Bill Finger, you know, doing that kind of grittiness is what they were going for in a comic book. And I think really even some of the graininess of the film in this movie was mimicking that graininess of even the comic book paper and kind of giving it that dark overtone. The use of lighting in this film it's Oscar worthy to me. I mean, with the darks, the lights, and then the reds that they brought in at certain parts. You know, you see it in the preview where there's a machine gun muzzle bursts.
Right.
And it's almost like a strobe effect, but a very delayed kind of strobe effect.
Yes.
That was great. So anyway, I'm going off in too many branches, but yes, you had dark, gritty Batman at the beginning, and then he got very campy. And that's what people wanted. And then in the mid 70s, when he kind of went a little darker, and then with Frank Miller in Dark Knight Returns, where it's just super dark and gritty.
Right, but at the same time, that was Super Friends. So you had two different Batmans.
No, Super Friends predated.
Was that 70s?
It was, that was
okay,
mid to late 70s, early 80s, but Dark Knight was mid 80s.
Oh, mid 80s. Okay.
Yep. And then, but then it became super dark.
Yeah.
And then in 89, because I think Dark Knight Returns was 85. And then 4 years later, 89 Batman was Tim Burton. And they're, you know, everybody's like, oh, they're going to make a Batman film like Adam West. And Tim Burton goes, no, I'm going darker.
Yeah.
And then the animated series came out, and then, which was kind of that in between. It was dark, but it wasn't so dark. It was an adult dark. Right. And then even after that, they came like Cartoon Network, where you had Batman Brave and the Bold, which is actually a really fun series.
It actually is very fun.
That doesn't take itself too seriously, but embraces both that cartoony side and knowing that darkness kind of exists.
Not only that, but the comic lore. They actually did a great job introducing characters and all this. It's actually a really good series.
So yeah, you're right. It has spanned all these different kind of genres and age groups, and which I think still hurts it a little bit. And people were really hoping this would be a rated R film, a rated R Batman film. And I said, there's no way they're going to do that. Because they merchandising, like, they're afraid a 12-year-old isn't going to buy the Lego set of a rated R film. I don't think that's true. But you know,
I would think long and hard. If my kid wasn't at least 12 to 13, I don't think Gwen's not going to see that movie. Like, I wouldn't take her to watch. No. Like, I wouldn't. I mean, even if she was 8 or 10, I don't think I'd do it. I would no.
Under 10, I wouldn't.
Yeah, you just don't need to see this. I have all these other Batman movies you can watch. You don't need to see this one. Yeah. But the one thing I also liked was he didn't have a voice like this. He was just very much his voice.
I mean, he had kind of a dark whisper, a little bit, but
a little bit.
It wasn't the modulated Ben Affleck, electronically augmented voice,
right? Or it wasn't Christian Bale's,
or it wasn't oh my god! And see, and that's part of the Christian Bale Batman that
but it's not bad. I watched the first one before I went to go see this movie. It's not
Batman
there.
Begins?
Yeah, it's not there that much. It's at the end, you can tell when he has to do more dialogue, it's hard.
Yeah.
You know,
I
know
what you're talking about.
hallucinated drug. You know, he
Yeah.
just keeps going, and it did become a caricature. It did become
I can't get Pete Holmes sketch comedy
exactly
out
It's
of
the
my
same
head
thing.
every time I hear it now.
Yeah, because he does sound like him.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was much more Michael Keaton, who just had this voice, and he lowered it a little bit and went a little dark with it. But it wasn't
right.
But again, in that movie, Batman, not a lot of dialogue.
No,
like, Batman didn't talk a lot. No, I question a little bit of like Gordon, who I think should have had a couple times of like, is that who I think it is? But
if he's never seen,
that's just it.
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne is such a recluse that no one talks to him. No one sees him. I wonder if in the next film, because of the way the story plays out, it would be an opportune time for Bruce Wayne to maybe help out a little bit more with his billions. Maybe not necessarily as a businessman, but more
actions.
Yeah, like a philanthropist kind of thing. And
well, I mean, if he does that, he doesn't even need to stand up and say anything.
He can just offer money, and I think that's possible. I wondered, there were parts in the film, because to me, Wayne Manor looked like Hogwarts, like had that Gothic flying buttresses.
I think it was filmed in London.
Oh, it could have been, but to me,
a lot of that was London decor for sure.
To me, it looked like
Hogwarts?
It looked like Hogwarts. There's a scene where he and Alfred are in a room and they're going over some things. They're doing some code breaking, more or less.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it looks like they're in like the observatory.
Yeah.
Or the observation tower at Hogwarts. Yeah. And I kind of wondered like what they were going for there. But where was I going with that? Oh, just the idea that Wayne Manor, Wayne Tower, like the Waynes in general, like they're not this prominent in your face company. They exist.
Right.
In the same way that like the Rockefellers still exist in America.
Like you wouldn't know where they're connected, really. Yeah.
They're old money. They still have these estates and houses and whatever. But if you were to pass a Rockefeller on the street, you wouldn't be like, hey, you're a Rockefeller.
Yeah.
You wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
And I'm just making up the Rockefeller name. I know jack about where their descendants are right now.
Right.
Anyway, I loved it. I very much am looking forward to a sequel. So, which
okay.
I read today that
I think they might go for the No Man's Land. You remember that?
Yeah.
I mean, the way that they destroyed Gotham, the way sorry about that, folks. The but the way it ended, it opens up two different types of story arcs that happen in the comics. So where Gotham was under siege.
I was thinking more Court of Owls. I could see that being.
That could be very easy.
I can see that, and I've never read that. I should read that.
You should. It's fantastic.
Well, maybe when you give me my D&D books back, you can give me your copy of that, because you have a copy of that.
I do have.
I read today that the Batman, so this new movie, The Batman, made more on Friday than Batman Begins did in its entire opening weekend.
Really?
Yeah. Cool. So I think that's a good sign.
Yeah. No, I thought it was a good movie. I'm not going to sit there and say like there was so much to like about it. I guess I didn't even expect it to be this heavy. So
I did. Did it I don't know, what was your favorite Batman movie before, and did it replace it?
I don't really know the answer to any of those, but I will tell you this did not replace it.
Okay.
But I did appreciate this Batman. It's kind of weird. I felt like this Batman was as close to ground level Batman as you're going to get, and I really appreciated that.
everybody says like The Dark Knight is their favorite Batman film. Like that is their definitive Batman film.
Yeah, it was good, but I'm a big fan of watching Batman fight. And if I'm just seeing this and and I'm like that, okay, you're not fighting. Like no one's gonna like, but I appreciated this guy getting hit, getting shot, getting beat up in certain areas where you're like, oh, is he not gonna recover from that? Or
Batman goes unconscious a couple times in this.
Yeah, he goes unconscious, and which, by the way, happens in the comic books. He had that. That happens a lot in the comic books. There's one part where it didn't make sense, and I'm thinking that, and I'm not going to spoil it, but Greg, you know what I'm talking about, where I think Gordon was the reason why they left him alone. Okay, I'll just say that. We'll talk off air about it, but I don't want to ruin it for anybody. But yeah, it didn't replace a Batman. You know what? Out of the Nolan verse, I did not like the last one. It was fine. I did not like. I thought Bane was a very cool character, and I thought that was the best version I've seen on Bane on the screen. But there's something I didn't like about that movie. I don't really know what it was, but Dark Knight was fantastic. I'm a big.
Is that your favorite Batman film?
No, I think it's Batman Begins because I like the idea of how it begun. I like the training. I like how he established this relationship with Ra's al Ghul, and that it had me hook, line, and sinker the whole way through Batman Begins. Yeah, so I think Batman Begins is still my favorite. My favorite Batman is Robert Pattinson, though.
Okay,
that's my favorite Batman. So yeah, I think that's where I'm at with it. So, after I've talked to you and I've thought about it and I've digested it a little bit more. I can't say it's a great movie. I think it's a very good movie. I won't go great, but that's
you're wrong. I think you're wrong.
I know. That's all right. It's about time you and I don't agree on something. We're always agreeing on something.
And I'm one viewing in, and it's going to be tough because it is a 3-hour film.
Yes.
And so sitting down for another 3-hour film to digest it more can be rough. But some of the people that complain about that will sit through an entire Lord of the Rings marathon and not bat an eyelash. So, are
you trying to rip on me? Is that what you're trying to do?
No, not at all.
I was like, dude,
there are other people in my circle that are like, I don't know if I can go to a movie theater for 3 hours. I'm like, you have though.
I see. The problem was I was told that it's 3 hours, and that didn't bother me. But what bothered me is they said, but you won't feel like it's 3 hours. I felt like it was 3 hours. I was like, dude.
There was, I agree with you. There was a section where I'm like, oh, this is where it ends.
Yeah.
Nope, this is not where it ends.
Yeah.
And I did feel like the pacing got a little off in that spot.
Yeah.
I understand why they did it that way. Like, if you would have ended it where we thought it was going to end, I think it would have left some things unanswered, or it wouldn't have been as a fulfilling ending as what I got at the end.
Yeah.
Matt says, I tell my people it feels like 3 hours. I guess I'm not disputing that it feels like 3 hours. It just wasn't an ill-spent 3 hours.
Okay. So you knew it was 3 hours, but you weren't like, come on, can we?
No, not at all.
I was getting uncomfortable, and I'm like,
at no point was I'm like, is this going to end soon? I mean, where are they going to cut this off? I didn't feel that.
Okay.
There was one point in the film, and it's in that section that end section where you're like, is this really happening, or is this in his head? What's real right now?
Oh, and that's interesting. You didn't know, you thought he might be.
Yeah, we'll talk about that off air because that is a major spoiler. But yeah, there is a section there where Batman is like, he's narrating, and I love the narration piece. I really do. That it's almost like we're privy to a retrospection, and I love that kind of storytelling. I think it's very crime noir. I think it's very old school detective novel. Um, to have your main character almost like be the one that's spinning this tale. Um, to the point where I was like, is he like visualizing, like thinking this through, and then he's going to go stop this before it happens? Oh no! Oh shit! That's happening. Like that, but boom, boom, that's going on.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, okay.
Right.
I didn't see that coming. Not in a first film kind of way. Didn't see that coming. Excuse me. So yeah, I thought that was. It did start to feel long in that part, but I was still encapsulated by the story.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say about this is I really enjoyed the way they actually introduced him this time. Out of all the other times they've introduced him, I really enjoyed the way they introduced him. And it was very simple, but it was like, oh, that's cool. And that's so simple, but that was really cool. Yeah.
Couple things with that. Batman is in a lot of the film, but he's not always in costume. And I thought that was great.
Yeah.
Like when he's investigating.
Yes.
He's blending
he's not
blending into the background. He's a man in the open.
Yeah.
Just doing his thing.
Yeah. You don't even know he's there. Yeah.
Yep. I thought that like hiding in plain sight was very much a thing.
Yeah.
And then when he wanted to be known, because I remember thinking, and this is again a D&D term, I'm like, he is failing stealth checks left and right.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
But it's intentional.
Yes.
His footsteps. And this is where I think the sound design in this film is fantastic. It's almost like he had spurs on. I mean, just like as he's coming through and those heavy steps.
And you hear it.
And he's literally, as that's happening, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. He's instilling fear in the criminal element of like, something's there.
Yeah.
I can't see it, but I can hear it. And it's big, it's
closer,
menacing.
and it's getting closer.
Yes.
How tall is
loved that. Pattinson?
Is he a 6'2" guy? 6'2"?
Gosh, I would really doubt it, but let's see. Robert Pattinson.
Either that or Zoe Kravitz is a very small girl.
Well, that is very true. She is tiny.
I bet you he's 6'2".
I would be surprised if he's breaking 6 foot. He is 6'1", my friend.
6'1", okay.
6'1", which by Hollywood standards
is a tall. Yeah,
that's a tall person.
It's not John Krasinski tall, but it's tall.
Nope. But he's only an inch shorter than Reacher. Yes.
Oh! You're talking about I thought you meant the actual character. Okay.
No.
Yeah,
Sam,
you're talking about Alan
Richardson.
Yeah.
Richardson.
Alan. He's 6'2". Yeah. Okay.
So that's interesting.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we've said enough about the Batman. So if you guys haven't
as
seen
much as we can say.
Yeah. If you guys haven't seen it, go out and see it. Let us know what you think.
I will be seeing it again. My wife hasn't seen it yet, so absolutely, she and I will be going to see it.
Well, then tell her to buckle up.
Yeah, I gotta try to be like, can you?
It's gonna get heavy.
Yeah,
it's gonna be heavy.
She's heard a lot about it. I actually showed her a reviewer that I follow by the name of Jay Stoobs, and if you don't follow her, you should, because she's got great opinions. She's a heavy geek girl who is she's a fan. She's a fan, but she also has a degree in film and does great reviews. She's got a great analysis pieces of Batman, and I had Krista watch that, and she's like, she immediately fell in love with Jay Stoobs, which is totally understandable. But then she said she wanted to see the film now, because I think she was a little wavering on it. She's like, I don't care if I see Batman or not. And
well, it is getting a little bit to that level with you and I, where it's like, how many is he? Is it the 6th Batman we've seen?
Oh, let's see. Burton did 2.
No. Let's go back to when we actually started watching Batman. So it's Adam West.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah, so Adam West.
Adam. No more cartoon. No cartoon.
Couple seasons. Live action. So you had you got Adam West. Michael Keaton for 2 films.
2 films.
Val Kilmer for 2 films. So
no, Val Kilmer for 1. George.
Oh, you're right.
The other. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, I lost count.
Yeah.
We had Adam West, Michael Keaton for 2, Val Kilmer, George Clooney,
Christian
Bale
Bale.
for 3.
Yeah.
How are we going to count?
You got to add Ben.
Affleck?
He's
But
in
how
it.
he is, but is it
A Batman movie?
right? I mean, you got Batman versus Superman, which
And
is
then you got the Justice League.
you got the Justice League, you got the Justice League,
Snyder cut.
the Snyder cut. We're
Just
up to
put
11.
Batfleck. He put on the suit. He's Batfleck.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So Batfleck. We'll just add all those into one.
You got him for a couple films, and now you got
So he's 6, right? He's 6. Pattinson's 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you and I are going to start getting to that 8. Like we're going to see another Batman movie with a new actor.
Oh yeah,
it's going to happen.
We most definitely will.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. I really am.
No, I'm fine with it too. I'm not saying that they should stick with it. It's already happened so many times.
It's become it's like being James Bond. I mean, we've come to the
thing. Yes.
Okay, there's going to be multiple Batman because we've just coming up. We've got Michael Keaton coming back.
Yes.
As Batman.
That's true.
So yeah. I've said
what
this
I'm saying
before.
Is
there's no role that you can't recast.
I understand. That's not true.
That is very true.
It's not true. I'm sure I can go, and I know which one we're talking about, but I guarantee you there are more things out there that you cannot recast that and be successful. Accept it.
Nope.
No, that's not true. Because you even told me there's no way you can do Marty McFly and Doc again.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
I'm saying you can, but you're going to sit there and go, even if you put Tom Holland and I heard the best one I've heard was Tom Holland and Robert Downey Jr. in those same roles.
They did a deep fake of it. It worked out great.
Did it?
Yeah.
Okay. But I know there's roles out there. You can't replace it.
I disagree. There are roles. Anybody can play.
Not any.
Like you can.
Not
you
any,
can.
No.
You're right. Not any. There are multiple actors that can play the same character and do it well.
Oh, okay. Yes. All right. That's what you're talking about. Okay.
I'm not saying you put, Jack Nicholson is in as Marty McFly. That doesn't work.
No, I'm not saying that either. But I am saying that there are certain. Okay. What we're actually talking about, folks, is I don't believe that there will ever be a better Tony. That's the problem. There won't be a better Tony Stark than Robert Downey Jr. You may put somebody else in there, but he is not going to be Tony Stark. And Greg is like, no, in 5 years, you just recast him. Everybody will be happy.
You can.
Not unless you reset the entire universe.
Nope.
And they're not going to do that. So.
Oh, shut up, Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
He said Rocky.
Yes. Who are you going to recast as Rocky?
I don't know, but.
Yeah, you can't do it. You can't do it and make it the same thing. There are other characters out there, too.
Stop. See, but Rocky's that's a different character because we saw him and he the same person has aged him through almost to death. Like I'm waiting for the Death of Rocky movie to come.
You are absolutely right. But you said any actor can replace any character. That's not true.
I think you could find even with Rocky. Maybe it takes time to get away from the original actor, but you could retell that story. There's an actor somewhere that could play Rocky. A lot of people wouldn't like it, wouldn't be happy with the casting. But you know what? We thought the sparkly vampire boy was in no way going to be able to play Batman.
No, we didn't. You and I did not think that.
A lot of people did.
Okay, but don't add us into that.
No, you're right. Yeah. I'm not adding us into that. But a lot of people thought that.
Right.
And we disputed that because of his other credits. We've seen him be a great actor in other things.
We've seen enough of Batman being different people. It almost became like every other year was a new Batman. So we've just been conditioned to it. I guess if you were to do that, if you were to just recondition us to every other year, it's a new Tony Stark then we'd just be like, okay.
And even for Matt, on your Rocky example, no, they didn't recast Rocky, but they essentially told the same story with Creel, and it worked out great.
I don't know about great.
You don't like the Creel movies?
Can you tell me you walked
Creed.
out?
I'm sorry, not Creel.
Yeah,
Creed.
I know what you meant. Can you tell me you walked out at Creed going, yeah, let's go, and you wanted to beat up somebody, you wanted to work out?
The first one was a great film. I enjoyed the shit out of that film.
No, we're not talking about great film or not. I'm saying it didn't have the same effect that, dude, Rocky became Americana. Creed has not become a part of Americana.
No, you're right.
Yeah. So it
I'll
didn't
take
have
that.
the same effect. That's all. I'm not saying it's not a good movie. I'm not saying anything like that. What's he saying now?
He said LOL at Johnny. He's laughing at you.
Oh,
Yeah, I still, under the right circumstances, I think you could recast. And who do I get for Rocky?
you
I
keep
don't know.
shifting your
I don't know.
narrative. You keep shifting.
I'm
it
not
now.
shifting. My
Yes, you
narrative.
are, because now you're saying under the right circumstances.
Well, I'm going back and saying, I'm like, yeah, I don't know if you can recast it, but now I'm thinking about it more. I think you could.
No, I can't. You can't. It's okay.
Okay, if I said we're going to make a new movie about
Yes.
Popeye Doyle,
Popeye Doyle.
exactly. You don't remember who the fuck that is, but there was a time from the French Connection, yes.
Okay.
But there was a time where
I didn't-
nobody would have thought to recast that.
Gene Hackman. Okay.
That Gene Hackman
okay.
is Popeye Doyle. There's no way you could do that.
Okay.
Or even Hercule Poirot from the Agatha Christie movies. Like, people thought that actor, I can't remember his name, but they thought he embodied it so much. There's no way you could do that again.
Do you think anybody's played a Dracula better than Bela Lugosi?
Sure.
I don't think so. I think you're wrong. I think no one's played Frankenstein better than who's the guy that played Frankenstein?
Boris Karloff.
Yes, no one's played it better than that guy.
He's the person that pops into your head. But, for me, when I think, having most recently read Dracula,
Yes,
Gary Oldman nailed it.
more
than Bela Lugosi ever did.
You got me there. You got me there.
Bela Lugosi was this romanticized version.
Yes. Gary Oldman did do it. Yeah, he did do justice to that. Yes. But there are other, like, I don't think. Okay, when Jeff Bridges, great actor, played Rooster Cogburn, I didn't buy it.
Really, over
John Wayne? Fuck no. Probably because half the time I couldn't hear him. I couldn't understand what he said. That's how it sound.
Marshall makes a good point. Peter Doyle as Frankenstein's monster.
Peter Doyle, Frankenstein's monster. Help me out.
Young Frankenstein.
Oh, Jesus. Only our group will understand this. Marshall,
not at all. Not at all. People love that movie.
No. I'm not saying it's not a good movie, but that's not a good Frankenstein.
And it's right. It's Peter Boyle. I said Doyle. Peter Boyle.
Yeah. All right. We're going overboard here. We're going longer. Anyway,
I want to get this argument, this topic about recasting.
Yeah, we'll bring it up.
We need to get. Here's what we need. We need to get Darren, Ken, Matt, Marshall, and any other of our absolute movie buffs to come on here and have this discussion.
You want to have like 7 people on here?
Let's do 4, but
okay.
4 or 5.
7's going to be a lot.
Yeah, I know. 7 people will be a bunch of talking heads yelling at each other, going, "You're full of shit."
Yeah. All right, Greg, sign us out, man.
Don't be a douche.
Yeah, don't be a douche. All right, so for the Greg, this is Johnny saying, take care. Thank you. Podcast out. See ya.
See you guys.